Hello, this is Xuanyi Wang. This is my final presentation of my project, Sensory Memory. The first part is the brief. Here's the introduction. First of all, the topic of this project is about death and memory. Death is an unavoidable topic. Everyone will experience the departure of the relatives or close friends, and memorials are things to memorialize the existence of our disease. Why do people memorialize? The first two types of the memorizing is to remembering that the loved one has died. Usually, this kind of memorizing focus on the to comforting the loss, to use some memorials to remind people of the fact that the loved one has gone. And another kind of memorizing is remembering the loved one's life. For this type of the memorizing, they usually celebrate the loved one's life and try to use this kind of memorials to keep the continued bonds. So the attitude to this dice are also different. The first type of the memorizing, those people usually resist the concept of dice and regard dice as a side thing and think it means the end of a relationship. For the second types of the people, they usually think that the dice is a really natural part of the life. So what is my motivation of this project? Because I have experienced the departure of my relatives. My grandma and my uncle have gone, and they are buried in the cemeteries, but the cemeteries are very far from my home, especially when now I'm at abroad. So it's not very easy for me to visit them when I really miss them. So I think this kind of normal ways of memorials are not really can comfort the people who really miss their loved ones. I think maybe I could explore more better ways to help people to memorialize their loved ones in their daily life. Why do this design needed? Because people are social, so the loss of one person matters to many, and because we have the relationships with others. So if someone has gone, how will this relationship will become, and how can we continue this relationship, and what kind of way can also better comfort the living. So this is aims of the some memorials, and this kind of the memorials memorializing ways are worth exploring. And what is the problem? Uh, for now, some traditional forms of memorials have a very big impact on the environment and cost too much, such as the cemeteries and the lack of the earth sources of the city. And another problem is that existing memorials, such as the cemeteries, are too isolated or far from living, and such as my status. When I miss my loved ones, I cannot really visit them. So how can the living maintain the continual relationships with the dead? So the aim of this project is that the purpose of this design is to explore the new forms and the possibilities of better memorializing the died and comforting the living. Here is the stage of the research. At first, here's my initial research. I have collected 20 things related to the dice and memorials from the internet and also in London, and I have separated them into three parts. The first part is some things in the process of the funeral, and another part is that some ways of the memorials. Then here could be the two parts. The first is that the personal ways to memorizing their loved one, and the second part is that the public memorials. And after the initial research, I decided that my direction will be the to exploring the different forms of the personal memorials in their daily life. As I said that I think about why cemeteries cannot really can help us to ease our grief, and also can help us to build the relationship with our loved ones. So I did some research on cemeteries. The first part of this research is that I have research on the distribution of the cemeteries in London and Beijing. And as we can see on this map, in London, the cemeteries are most in the population concentrated areas, so they are not really far from the city. But in Beijing, cemeteries are usually very far from the center of the city. So for those people who lived in China, we usually take a lot of time to visit the cemeteries. And the second part is that the field research on the local cemetery near. Before the research, I thought that because it's local, so it could be really good take care of. But when I did my research, I found that I found a lot of traces which shows that these graves are not usually revisited by the people, and such as some dust, some garbage, the bullshit, and these traces are still here. No one clean it, or no. I found that these graves are not be really good take care of. The third part of this research, I have made a questionnaire to ask the people's feelings about visiting the cemeteries. I have asked how often do they visit their family graves, the distance between their location and the cemeteries, and how their emotional connections with the cemeteries. And from the result of my research, I found that for most of the people, they don't visit their family graves frequently. Usually they visit them twice a year or once a year. And the distance between the locations and the cemeteries, no matter in London or Beijing, not a really close distance. So for most of them, it's not very convenient to visit the cemeteries when they miss their loved ones. And how's their emotional connections with the cemeteries? I found that most people said that they have neutral or weak emotional connections with the cemetery, and just a small part of the people think that they have strong connection with the cemetery. The views of the strong connections holds that the gravestone can serve as a record of the person's life, and also when they visit the cemeteries, they feel close to their loved ones. But for the views of the weak connections, they think that the distance from the cemeteries means a separation between the living and the died. And most of them think that the cemeteries are only the final home of the body, but not the home of the emotion and the memory. Here's a part of the primary research. The first part is the personal investigation. I have also experienced the departure of the loved ones, my grandmother and my uncle. Although I would visit cemeteries, but it's not very convenient for me, and I have my own ways to memorize them. I keep the object they left me, and also I will send messages to them, although I know there will be no reply. But these behaviors can help me feel that I still have the connections with them. And another example is the way of memorizing a public character. He's a hero in China who's a doctor, and after he died, many people still leave messages to him on his social account. So people choose this way to build the connections with him. It's also, I think it's also a different, unique and a good way for different people to memorize someone they don't want to forget. Here's the second part of the primary research, the interview. I have to interview some people online, and here's the questions. How do they memorize the details in their everyday life? What kind of influence do they think this kind of memories method has on them, and what's their attitude towards the dice? What do they think of the current memories method, or their opinions to this kind of memories? And for the how do they memorize their loved ones, I found that most of them will keep on with the disease object, and some of them will adopt the habit the disease have to do the same things they did, and some of them to recall the memories, to talk or to share the disease stories with others. I found that four people of this group try to communicate with the disease like what I did to my grandmother and my uncle. And one people said that in their family they avoid memorizing because it will make them feel very sad. And how do interviews think of the memorizing? They have different ideas, but I found that overall they think that build a long and continual relationship can help them ease their grief better and also can better memorize their loved ones. Most of them do not want to forget their loved ones' stories. They still want to keep these connections. Here are two types of module of the grief. The first is a 5 stage of the grief. In this module, the scholars think that at first when people have to face the fact that their loved one has died, they will experience a lot of negative emotions, but finally they will come to the stage of acceptance, and after this stage they can gradually accept the fact that their loved ones has gone and try to start their new life. But in this module, the connections between the living and the deceased are gradually weak. Finally, this connection may disappear. The second module is a continuum bonds. It's a new module promoted in 1996. In this module, scholars think that the connections do not need to go to the end. Instead, it can become a new kind of healthy connections, and it can still help people ease their grief and better remember their loved ones. And here are some continuum bonds cases. Here's a small conclusion about the design directions and case studies. After the research, I found that here are some living and deceased needs. They want these memories can help them to remember the died, create the continuum bonds, can help them ease the grief, can help them feel a kind of interaction which reflects the continual relationship, and do not let the living be overall dependent on the memories. And also these memories can be convenient to use in everyday life. So I have started to think about some potential design directions. The first is a design for the stage of being trapped in the grave, such as this design case. And the second direction is design for the stage out of the grave. And here are some small directions under this type, such as a memory can store the memory or experience, a memory can create interaction to the memorizing behavior, a memory which can create continual bonds through the continual living or through the continual relationships. And I also found the related design cases. Now, after this research, here's the stage of the experiment. During the research, I found that the most memorial methods focus on to keep the visual or memorial of the loved ones, such as keep their object, and the people can touch and see this object. But here's the concept of the sensory memory. There are 5 kinds of the memory that we can have, except the visual one, and also we can touch. Others can also help us to better memory or something. Here, I come up with the idea of to try to explore the possibilities of the use of olfactory memory and the iconic memory to help people better memorize their loved ones. And here's a case study. Here are two design cases which related to the olfactory memory and also the echoic memory. Here's my idea of my experiment. I want to enhance the memory and the emotional connections of the living to the deceased through the resolving of the echoic and olfactory memories related to some specific things. So here are two volunteers. One is Annie and another is me. We have tried to remember the thing which related to our loved ones in our memories and try to figure out every sound and scent in that scene. And then I listed all the objects and try to recombine the scent and the sound in that scene. Here is the experiment on the olfactory memory. I have collected objects which have the familiar scent in our memories and try to use different ways to extract the smell. And then I have tried to use different ambient sound to recombine the ambient sound which related to the scene in our memory. And then here's the stage of the testing. I have set up the three groups of the installations which represent the three things in our memories related to our loved ones. Each installation consisted of the visual collage of the scene, extracted liquids with odors, and a player which can play the recombined ambient sound. And then we try to interact with this side of the installations. After interacting with the installation, the volunteer and I both feel that the scent and the ambient sounds do bring us back to the scene in our memory. These scents and sounds could remind us of some details related to our loved ones that have been forgotten. So it proves that try to use the olfactory memory and the echoic memory can really help us to keep the connections with our loved ones. Now here's the stage of my outcome. Based on the result of the experiment, I decided to develop the concept of the experiment, which I use the olfactory memory and which I try to explore the possibilities of using olfactory memory and echoic memory to keep the continual bonds with our loved ones. So I decided to design a set of memorial tools that people could use at home. This includes a set of environmental sound capture kits and scent capture kits. And there could be two kinds of user groups. For those who want to left sensory memories for their loved ones, they can use this tool to record their own ambient sounds and smells and left them to their loved ones. For those who want to memorize the deceased, they can recall the ambient sound and scent by doing things which the deceased often did or enjoyed while they live alive. It can also create a stronger bond with the deceased by doing the same things. Now here's the first one, the ambient sound capture kits. I got the inspiration from the clouds, the sound wave, and also the wind veil. And here's a sketch of my device. We can see this part is the sound player, and this individual clouds are the sound captures. Every sound capture can be taken off and put in anywhere in your home, and then it can work to start to record the sound. After working, you can put it back to this device, and the sound player can play the sound it recorded. Here's the module I have did. And here's a scene to show how to use this device in your home. Here's the second side, the ambient scent capture toys. I have get the inspiration from the steam distillation. It's a very old and traditional way to extract odors, but it can work in not a very professional environment like in your home. I have tried it during my experiment, use a very simple way, and it works. So I think I can design a tools which has this, which based on this principle, but can better, easier to use in your home. And here's my toys. Here's the main part of the distillation device, and here's the bottle which can keep the liquid with the scent. And here's the diffuser. And here's the diffuser stone which can, if you drop the liquid on this stone, and it can expand the scent, so you can smell it in your home. Here's also the model I have made for my concept. How to use this product first. You can pour the water in this device, and then you put the ingredients which you want to extract the smell, and then you can open the heating, and here's in the process of the distillation. Finally, you could drop the liquid onto the diffuser stone, then you could smell it. Here I also designed user guide which can teach people how to use this set of tools in their daily life. Finally, this is the display of my outcome, the devices, and also the guidebook. Finally, I also made a film to show how to use device in your daily life. This is my presentation. Thank you.